Heroes and Legends. Reborn 2. The Rebirth of the Royal Sudimatrian. In the annals of history, in the many timelines, there was a time and age that the Sudimatrian himself, aligned himself with the Banquron to preserve the peace. He married a Banquron queen at the time, Queen Helena, and had a daughter, his first child. Name was Jemi Royal. During that time, Sudimatrian, in order to make fair his power with the Banquron, that were over time and generations, was swapping their empire between the Royals, the Commonwealth, and the Scotia every other generation. But the Royals wanted to make a marriage with the Sudimatrians in order to establish their rule eternally. This was consented by the Royals and Sudimatrian himself. Jemi was alive during the time of the mass extinction or genocide of many Scholastica who opposed Sudimatrian alignment with the Banquron. For the Scholastica and the Banquron were ancient enemies. In order to answer the call and to save his people, Apex Colorian the first, a leader of the Collegiate of the Scholastica, led a rebellion against Sudimatrian, one of many. And sooner or later, he was able to eradicate and defeat Sudimatrian, and then he went forward afterwards to take the head of the Royals. But he was stopped by Chaos incarnate, who had tricked him into receiving the forbidden knowledge the forbidden knowledge. And then after that, he was defeated by the Elder Banquron and Elder Sudimatrian before they died. When Apex Colorian's son, Spear, in the next generation, rose up in defiance of Chaos, who ruled the universe, but was bored because there was no Chaos around, because the fight had stopped, rose up in rebellion, single-handedly, clothed with the Spirit of God, and overcame the forces of Chaos that was stationed on Earth, and liberated the universe from disparity. Sometime later, a new alternative Lafleurs had arrived, and they served under the Royals and the Banquron during a new age of war against the leftovers of the Scholastica, and the Lafleurs joined. The Lafleurs were torn between Scholastica and the Banquron, but in the end, the Banquron won, and the Scholastica managed to survive, and the slaughtering had stopped. However, Jemi Royal was ruling after our virtuous commander-in-chief, Jack Royal, died. The Lafleurs felt Andrew Lafleur, Lieutenant of Andrew Lafleur and his wife Zerlene, in this alternate time, decided to end Jemi to avenge those millions that were being genocide and prevent her ruthless rule, because she was a ruthless and heartless leader, unlike her mother and father before her. And so they infiltrated the castle, and Lafleur slayed many of her officers. But for Jemi, he did not slay. Instead, he let his wife do the killing, because he vowed never to kill a woman. With that, Jemi was slain. In response, her loyal bodyguards, Smart and Rubans, trapped themselves within a pillar, using the forbidden knowledge to learn how to do this in order to make an arrangement by the time which all Lafleurs and the residents of Lafleurs would be completely eradicated. Those who that supported, those that were actually Lafleurs, or any aspect were eradicated from the universe, and that the age and that the Sudimatrian bloodline also was eradicated from the universe. Then they, along with their lady Gemini, will rise again one day. Now, fast forwarding back to the age of chaos that have bestowed the universe, back in Planet Royal, where Susan had become the leader of the Royals, along with Wilson Alcino, her deputy. The Royal Galaxy, as each power was rewarded their own galaxy as a reward for their participation in the Great War defeating evil, was living in peace, not really gaining military power or any interest in that. The Royals relinquished their control of the Banquron leadership to the Fidelians, who had failed to capitalize in the civil war of the Sudimatrian Galaxy prior to the destruction of the Synergian Empire. But now, Gemini, Smart, and Reborn, and their special droids and troops that they have preserved, had resurrected themselves in the royal capital planet. They were stunned to be alive. Gemini was stunned. Where's our father? Where are the Lafleurs? And then Reborn and Smart said, "My lady, we've done some stuff with some forbidden knowledge, with Apex currently in had summoned, as became physically." Gemini was pissed that he'd done such a thing, but she was calm and grateful to them. Now they was alive. In the conditions, Gemini was the last living, breathing relative of Sudimatrian, and all evidence and support of Lafleurs was wiped out from this universe. Unknown the time and situation, they advanced to the royal capital city, to the presidential palace, to stake their claim. Susan, and Wilson Arthur and their forces were stunned. Another royal army? Could it be holdouts from the great time disruption? No, Susan said. It's not that. Those pillars, those ancient pillars that were around in the mountains for all those centuries, but no one knew the origin of. They came from them. Who are they? And so Susan and Wilson went up to meet Jemi Royal and Smart and Lou. Jemi Royal, using her power, put Susan and Wilson on their knees and demanded to know who these pretenders were. And so Susan explained the circumstances of the new Banquron, the Great War, the Prince of Darkness, and basically everything that had transpired during the legendary Fighters era and the end of the Lafleurs and the consequent death of the Sudimatrians. Gemini was quite pleased at this, but sad at the same time. Pleased that the Lafleurs were gone and the universe was ripe for the taking, and also quite surprised that the Banquron powers now have each galaxy, and thus uniting them all will make one even more powerful than before. But she was saddened. Her father, who she barely remembered because of how long they've been separated, had a son, her younger brother, and a niece that she could never mate. She cursed her circumstance and vowed to have vengeance against those that killed him. But Susan then explained that Siegfried St. was no more, and that those that joined him were long gone. And so Gemini was like, I am the embodiment of Banquron and Sudimatrian embodied, and it shall be I that shall unite all of Banquron and my father and brothers' kingdom under my banner, and we will bring an end to this chaos that spanned this universe. Susan was shocked She was really a descendant of Sudimatrian and the royals put together? What alternate timeline was this? She was confused, but a little excited. Finally, the royals were about to rise back up again. However, news of Gemini's rise got the ears of Prophet Elam and the Baha. Prophet Elam and the Baha had served Siegfried Sudimatrian and helped to get rid of the Sudimatrian name. If Gemini rose and took all of Banquron away from the Fidelians that were commanding, it would be trouble, and the Baha might be wiped out for treason. And so Prophet Baha reached out to Fidel for assistance. Fidel and Baha decided to work together, since Baha's influence helped to eradicate the Sudimatrians, which gave the Fidelians a chance to expand, but they failed in the expansion. Now a new internal threat threatened their way of life, and the Fidelians' young control of all of Banquron. Gemini and Smart and Reborns, Susan and Wilson Arkham, and the entire Royal force and the Royal Army marched to the capital planet of the Fidel to face the Phoenix and their allies, the Baha, who had joined them. Gemini was convinced by Susan that the Baha were necessary, seeing that the Banquron galaxies have not produced military in some time, and the Fidelians and the Baha had great military, and they would be instrumental in their fight to reunite Sudimatrian that was now more bigger and powerful than Gemini could ever imagine. And so the battle was hatched. The battle had begun. The cold, Lizette, Fifi, Freedom Fidel, and Freedom Fidel II, and Pinasa of the Fidelians, and Pin, and Rodri, Bob, and Dick Vance, and Prophet Elam of the Baha waged war against the Royals and the Royal Sudimatrians. This was the first Banquron fight since prior to the 1,000-year reign of the Lafleurs and Androsica. The battle was intense. The ancient weapons and mechs of the Royals were that of great power which has not been seen in eons. The newly led Fidelians and the Baha, despite the Baha's military and mechs of their own, were powerless against the fierce determination and power of a royal Sudimatrian bloodline. Gemini easily defeated the Phoenix Bird and the Prophet who had joined him. And in the end, she said, after they were captured, Gemini looked down at both the Prophet and Fidel and said, "So an elder prophet of heaven, working side by side with a phoenix, whose people self-described him as a living god. Oh, how much the elders have fallen," she exclaimed. Prophet Elam and Fidel begged for their lives, as they knew death was inevitable. But before they could cry out for mercy, Jemi Royal did something shocking. She took her battle staff, hold up the air, and slashed it down, removing the bonds of the Prophet Elam and Fidel. They were stunned, and she said, "All of Banquron is mine. Mobilize the Scotia and the Commonwealthans and any other Banquron force that's out there. I want every elite leader of each clan to follow me to Sudimatrian. I'm going to take my father's kingdom under my rule and rule this universe as I saw fit." Everyone was stunned in the Fidel and Baha. Our father's kingdom? Wait a minute. This leader of the royals' father was Sudimatrian? They were confused. Even Prophet Elam was shocked. He did not know what was going on. And so Susan and Roborns had explained to them what was happening. The next battle for supremacy was about to begin. The battle against the new Sudimatrians and the allies in the Build Run. The battle against the new Sudimatrian leader, Uiyui, and co-leader, Jilukayan. The establishment of the Second Kingdom was about to begin.